Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to the super final of the Speedchess Championship in 2024 between the two top grandmasters Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja. This beautiful event is finally over. We know the winner. It's of course the best chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen. Magnus really dominated in the Speedchess Championship with a clear result after 31 games they played. Look at this. I prepared also the scoreboard here for you. Magnus gained 23.5 points against Alireza's 7.5 points, which is really one of the most spectacular results in Speedchess Championship history. It's the best actually result in any finals of this event. Magnus played very awesome, brilliant, sharp tactical chess, and also we know of, in the battle for the third place also Hikaru Nakamura really demolished Hans Niemann with a clear result. I've sorted out now a beautiful game from this match between Magnus Carlsen against Alireza Firouzja, in which Alireza played with the white pieces. It was a 5+1 game, and Magnus Carlsen played with the black pieces. In my opinion, really great, spectacular tactical game. With the white pieces here, Alireza opened with move e4. Magnus' response was e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4. The Italian opening. Now we have the Giuoco piano, d3, knight to f6, and now after bishop to g5, normal stuff, pretty standard position that we have reached and seen many times in Italian opening history. We have h6 by Magnus, bishop to h4, d6. We have now c3. In some lines, of course, preparing also the d4 breakthrough. We have a6 here by Magnus. In some lines, preparing, of course, b5. So that's why here knight from b2 d2. And I would say here a pretty equalish position. Nothing spectacular so far is going on the board. Bishop to a7 by Magnus, keeping, of course, his bishop very active here, especially around the square f2. a4. We have now development by the queen, and now here Alireza expands on the queen side, is of course trying to break and enter somehow, maybe with the move b5 if possible, with b6, a5. So he's using now the spaces on this side of the board. Magnus continues battles against this annoying bishop on c4. Alireza castles, and now we have a trades of light for bishops, knight to c4, and now queen to e6, getting finally out of this pin here. Is not Magnus doesn't want, of course, to play so passively with the queen. He's trying to get out. If you take now, then of course he'll simply recapture. And now Alireza finds, I think, a very interesting attack, and I think Alireza is well prepared in this Italian openings. We have seen it also in some games against Vasily, so against other top grandmasters, that Alireza is really the master, really the strategic master of the Giuoco piano, Giuoco pianissimo, of all of these lines of the Italian opening. He plays now very interesting b5, immediately attacking now the queen side. After knight to e7 that Magnus played, now Alireza found an interesting trade of pieces, bishop to f6. This move is actually great because it keeps now the knight on the board by white, and the knight in this, I would say, semi-static positions are really great. They will find eventually always their way on the board. Here we have queen to f6, and here Alireza continues with an amazing rook to b1, and it's so hard now to defend this position because there is now already the tension on the b file, and believe me or not, Magnus didn't react correctly immediately. He plays now a bad a takes b5. He took now the pawn, allowed here Alireza to take over on the b file, and now if you try maybe to keep your structure intact here, if you try of course to keep your position solid on the queen side, then you're blocking out your dark square bishop. That's why I really liked in the beginning, in this whole tactical sequence, this move by Alireza, giving up the bishop for a knight, expanding here, attacking the b file, and now after a takes b5 here, Magnus should have actually played here kingside castling. Then if for instance b6 happens, then you can also here protect your pawn on the d file, and your basic then strategic goal is then to play the move d5, and I think here black is also pretty solid. But after a takes b5, now the real fun starts. Rook to b5, Magnus protects, but now Alireza keeps simply the pressure on the b file, and you cannot really protect the pawn, as we mentioned. Even if you here try something like this, then in some lines, of course, we can even play here something like a5, so the position is collapsing simply on the queen side. So Magnus recognizes his mistake. He says, okay, take your pawn, but I'll go simply for the f4 square. Now Magnus plays a counterattack, but we have to mention here white is already much better. Rook to b8, rook takes b8, and now Alireza gives here Magnus Carlsen the opportunity to get back into the game. Alireza plays now queen to d1. this move is not good, because what you should actually do is to play queen to c2. In the beginning, we cannot really know why queen to c2 is better maybe than queen to d1, but the issue actually for white is here that you have to stay with your queen connected to the f2 pawn. I just wanted to show you one line why it's important to play with your queen on the second rank than on the first rank. For instance, black will have, of course, his fun with knight to f4, then you have g3, and then after something like queen to g6, you can still step back, and now you see after potential knight to h3, the queen is connected like the rook here to the square f2. Maybe in a line like knight to e3, you see even a tactical shot like knight to f2 is not working. When the queen is on d1, then this tactical shot with knight takes f2 is probably working, because after rook to f2, then the knight is loose. So I just wanted to show you that actually white needs to be really compact around the square f2. But after rook to b8 and the queen to d1 that Alireza played, now Magnus doesn't react correctly. He should have gone immediately with knight to f4, simply going for the square that he has prepared. And I wanted to show you again a really spectacular line after something like g3 that white probably could have played here. Then you have even this stunner, queen to e6, and then if you, for instance, try g takes f4, there is now a beautiful drawish sequence. It wasn't played in the game, but I wanted to show you how beautiful still this position is. After queen to g4, king to h1, now you have the stunning rook to b1. You sacrifice now the rook, and now you do some perpetuals with queen to g4, queen to f3, and black has a draw. But c6 by Magnus wasn't good because it gives now Alireza Firouzja the opportunity to play the move g3 here. He has now the opportunity to prevent this hop of the knight on f4, and that was probably Alireza's idea. He wanted to play queen to d1 in order to connect the queen to the knight on f3, and then to play the move g3. I'm not sure why Alireza played now this dubious rook to e1. Not a good move, which finally allows now here Magnus Carlsen to play knight to f4. The position should be equal when it comes to computer evaluations, but I would love to play now, I think, more even black's position, because the knight is very active on f4, bishop on a7 very active. Black has occupied the only open file on the board, the b file. Although down a pawn, I think black has here a much better activity. So Alireza doesn't want to tolerate the activity of this bishop, advances the pawn, locks out now this diagonal, and now Magnus simply takes, opens now the center, c takes d4, and now rook to b4. Great move here by Magnus Carlsen. Putting more pressure. Again, if black and white play the game correctly, this should probably be a drawish position, but in this faster time formats, white has to really find the best solutions, and here Alireza was already low on clock. And actually what happened through the whole match, Alireza was always low on time. Magnus found in the early stage of the opening very solid positions, so he didn't spend so much time in his openings. Alireza was always down on clock and had some issues through the whole match against Magnus Carlsen. After rook to b4, Alireza goes with knight to e3, rook to b2. Magnus is preparing now some tactics here around the square f2, and here Alireza again doesn't react correctly, plays now the crucial blunder, I would say, in the game, knight to c4. A better choice is simply to get with your king finally out of this potential g-file mess, and then after something like queen to e6, you can still play g3. And again, I wanted to show you a beautiful drawish tactical sequence. Really great stuff. You play queen to h3, and here, for instance, in this line, white can go in, black can go in a beautiful way into a drawish line after queen to g2. After knight to g2, you have this one, knight to h3. If you go with your king here, of course, you're getting checkmated, so that's why you're pretty much forced to play here. After knight to h3, you have to play king to h1, and now the game would be repeated here with a check on h3, and then on f2 it's a beautiful and thematic draw. So here, after move king to f1, the position is equal. So as I said, again, white can hold this position. But Alireza played knight to c4 instead, and Magnus played now this beautiful idea, queen to g6, threatening here the immediate checkmate on the g file. Alireza plays now g3, but now, first of all, the check by Magnus. Now he found a beautiful tactical sequence. Rook takes f2, great move, allowing here temporarily the loss of the knight, but now this beautiful check picks up now the piece. And okay, still the material is equal, but the king is naked, the king is endangered. Black has a much better activity, has now great attacking chances. So here Magnus is challenging this way. Alireza is trying to battle. Magnus retreats, and now the only way maybe somehow to hold the position is to play rook to e3. You have to now compete on the third rank. You should not allow here the black's rook to come on the third rank. Again, black is better here in this position, but here Alireza played, instead of rook to e3, he played queen to b1, allowed now Alireza to Magnus Carlsen to occupy now this third rank. Alireza tried to battle with queen to b2, but now first of all, bishop takes d4, queen to c8, and now the good part here by Magnus Carlsen is that he's now connected with the queen on c4 to the pawn on f7. So nothing really spectacular can happen in black's position. Black's king is solid, more solid than white's king. White's king is of course much more in danger. So here Alireza tries somehow to spice up the game, but even if you try something like, I don't know, e5, then bishop to e5, you cannot take, of course, because the activity here of the rook on the third rank, you can just sacrifice the exchange. But you see the beauty about this move, queen to c4. The queen is connected to the pawn on f7, and again, nothing spectacular here for white. So Alireza tries some weird stuff with g5, but Magnus has this beautiful check, and now after move h5 in this particular position, Alireza Firouzja resigns. So let's see now just one sequence. If you of course go here on h4, then you lose again the knight. If you try something like, I don't know, king to h5, I wanted to show you here a beautiful tactical sequence. After king to h4, you pick up this one. The queen has to now go here in order to protect some checkmates, maybe here on the h file. But now the queen is coming into the game. If you pick up, of course, this one, then there is a beautiful check. Then we have this check. You have to again cover, and now after something like king to h3, queen to h2 is again a stunning checkmate. So great game by Magnus Carlsen here. He was much worse, I would say, in the beginning of the opening. You see Alireza is well prepared in this Italian opening, but when it comes to really pure calculations in faster time formats, Magnus was better and is now, of course, the deserved winner of the new edition of the Speed Chess Championship on chess.com. So congratulations to Magnus. He was simply the best player. Epic performance, immortal performance, I would say, here by Magnus Carlsen. He doesn't play, of course, many times these classical events, but in any other format, he's simply unbeatable. When he has the day, you cannot simply beat the strongest player in the world, Magnus Carlsen. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. The interesting ideas of the Giuoco piano. If you want to see some other games that we have covered from this amazing chess event, check out our coverage. Here are some games that we have analyzed before. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos. And what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.